So hello everyone. Welcome to day two of Bucktrons 2.0. I am Joshit, one of the organizers at Bucktrons. So hope you all are doing well and thank you for joining us today. It means a lot to us. So yeah, Bucktrons is coming back to Bucktrons. Bucktrons is an initiative by DevTrons. It began with a mindset of encouraging community folks and make them aware of educational technology industry by putting emphasis on problem solving, code efficiency, code optimization, and logic-based programming. So today, after this session, we are going to be having round one of Bucktrons. So make sure you see to the end and make sure you're here. So today we have with us our MVP speaker, Rishka Gupta here. Hello, Rishka.
Hello, I hope you are doing well.
Yeah, we're perfect. So Rishika here is a software developer in engineer at LinkedIn, and she has formerly been a product intern at Adobe. So today we are going to be speaking about interview experience with Rishika. So hello Rishika, welcome to the stage. So here up is our first. How has your journey been as a STE at LinkedIn?
For now, it's been a great journey. Like Linden really take care of their employees in terms of the work culture and the kind of projects we work on. So yeah, it's really been a great journey so far, and I'm still learning a lot.
That was that's a very great answer. Like, yeah, it's always good if we have a great company at great company and we have a great team to work with.
Yeah, I
So
think that's all that matter. So for me, I don't have any dream company. I have dream, you can say points. And if any company can, accomplish all those points, then that company is a dream company for me. If I'm getting good projects to work upon, if I'm getting, good team to work with, if my work life balance is perfectly fine, and all these things are being catered, then it's a dream company for me. And LinkedIn, I can say, is taking care of all these things.
that's great emphasis on a healthy working atmosphere. So, like about interviews, so what do you think are the prerequisites a person should be concerned about before appearing for an interview? The homework
So
part.
for yeah, so first of all, please look at the job description. So before going any interview, because it's not only about software development interview, I can see there are many people who do not get involved in software development only. There are so many profile in IT domain related to cloud, related to support, and even product management and UI UX designing. So before going to any interview, please look at the job description and all the skills required for that job, and please understand the mission and vision statement of company. There are multiple round. First is, let's say, your technical round, then second can be a project or development side round, then third is your behavioral round. So you have to take care of all these things, that you are not just good in with your skills, but you are also aligned with the mission statement of the company. Like, what are the core points the company take care very seriously? For example, in case of LinkedIn, we have five pillars that we take care of. Like, we make sure that the candidate who is appearing for the interview is aligned with those five pillars. For example, there is transition, then there is humor, then there is a team, team player strategy. So all these things have to be very much in the candidate, only then the company allow that uh, like candidate to be a part of the company. So the first thing is, before going to brush up your skills, please look at the job description, and please align with the company's mission statement. So this is the first point.
Okay, that's very impressive. Because yeah, like before applying, like before appearing for an interview, we need to know what we are applying for and the kind of
Yeah.
work we have to do. So those are great points. And also the five things, the five pillars you said about LinkedIn, about humor, about transition, team player, very
Yeah.
important for our for a great teamwork.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
coming up with our next question. So, since you can see this event is organized through collaboration of communities, and we ourselves encourage people to come to be active around communities, to collaborate, to communicate with a lot of people. So, how does being active in community? So, how does community activity add up? a lot add up value in becoming an SDE or pursuing any favorable position in the industry?
So, Joshit, if you look at the current scenario after pandemic, all the things went online, right? And in online, online and offline scenarios are very different. When you are giving your interviews offline, the interviewer can judge you while your body language or while your expressions, or maybe there are so many factors when you give your interview offline. But in online, only your soft skills, like how you are able to communicate your ideas, how well you are able to communicate your ideas, and how well structured you are able to put your what can you say, logic in a way that really matters. Like, skill is one thing, you can get a master in it by doing practice and by participating in hackathons and many competition. But soft skills is also important as your hard skills are. And community, being a part of a community teach you all those skills. For example, if you are part of a community, you know how to how to talk with people, how to start a conversation, how to be a team player. Being a part of a community teaches you all these things without you even realizing that you are learning these things. Also, building in public give you a sense of community within yourself, because you then can feel that okay, someone is there who is at the same level with me. You kind of so there's a feeling of missing out, there's a feeling of
Inclusivity.
left out we all are facing because of pandemic. So being a part of a community can help you in that way also. So you will always feel connected to each other, and all these things matters a lot. And also, being a part of a community gives you many opportunities also. So I will not say that only soft skills and getting all these things is important, but sometimes what happened, for example, how we collaborated through Twitter. So there may be many other collaborations that can come to the way if you are a part of a community. There can be team projects, there can be doing course together, you can find your coding buddy and so many things. So definitely community, being a part of a community helps a lot in different aspects.
That's really awesome. I mean, not okay. So even though, like, if being in a community is not impacting us directly in an interview, it also gives
Right.
us a lot of skills. It also giving us a lot of what can we say, collateral skills that can add
Yep.
a lot of
Yeah,
value advantage to our interview.
for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, about that, we have follow-up question for that. So
Yeah.
since everything is online now, so how impactful does being I'm sorry, I'm going to rephrase it. So
Yeah.
how different is online interview from an offline interview?
Very much. I would say the importance of soft skills in online interviews has increased a lot, because now, um, now there's no connection, there's no physical connection between the interviewer and the interview, right? You cannot you cannot have that sense of offline meeting and in person chatting. So you have to make that connection while just your on with your online screens only. So of course, soft skills, the importance of soft skills has increased a lot. And the other aspect is like, we have seen because of online interviews, the cheating thing has increased a lot. We all know about it. So in coding test, most of the candidates are doing cheating, and which is not good, because eventually in your interviews, uh, you will not be able to come up with that benchmark that you have set in for yourself because of your um, online
Malpractice.
assessment round. Yeah. So that is also again a challenge, because now the people, most of the people that I have seen, they are like, I am able to solve this test, but then in interview I am not able to clear the interview rounds. And I'm like, maybe you should brush up your skills even more. You should practice more and definitely focus on your soft skills. So in that scenario also, there is a difference between online and offline interviews. First is the testing round, and in interviews also there used to be a paper and pencil with us when we used to give our offline interviews. So we used to have a paper and pencil, and because now this is an online interview, we are not able to exactly use a paper pencil with our laptops, right? And that is why it is very much difficult for us to kind of communicate what is coming or what is going on in our head, right? Because it is difficult to write on the screen, even if you are using whiteboard, which most of the companies use in interviews, even then it is very difficult. So I hope you are
Mhm.
able to understand what I'm trying to say. It is difficult
Yeah.
to explain your ideas basically. So that is why the importance of soft skills has increased a lot. And like, yeah, this is the major difference. Otherwise, if you talk about the level of questions, these are almost same, and it's just the way how we communicate.
Okay. So I can see a lot of difference in the resources that are present in both the niches of our interview in
Yeah,
the interviews. Okay, so that's okay. That's something we need to be wary of whenever appearing for an interview.
yeah.
And coming up with the next one. So, what do you think is one of the toughest parts of an interview, and how can one overcome them?
uh Toughest part, I think every interview round has some difficulty in it. Like, I cannot compare the difficulties which we face in HR round and the difficulties we face in technical rounds, right? So, for example, in HR round, the most difficult part is, if you are not well prepared, if you haven't read about the company before appearing for the HR round, then it's like it is going to be very difficult for you to understand what are the kind of questions that can that can be asked to you in the HR round, and what should be your answer. For example, in HR round, the questions are mostly related to some situations. So the interviewer will give you some scenario. For example, have you ever faced a situation where your teammate is not able to complete upon the deadlines, and he or she is facing some issue? Now, if you have faced this, how you tackle it? So this is the kind of question that can be asked if the company has a team or sportsmanship kind of thing in their visions, right? So if you haven't read about the company mission and vision statement, you are not able to curate those questions in your mind before going to interview. And if you are not that prepared, then in the interview something wrong will is most probably to be happen, right? So this is the difficulty in HR round. But in terms of technical rounds, it is mostly related to how confident you are upon your skills. For example, what kind of skills you have mentioned in your resume is, for example, like, if you have mentioned the skills that I have mastered in this because I have worked on the project related to this skill. Let's say Node.js. I have developed a project in Node.js, and now I have written in my resume that I have the mastery in Node.js. So doing just one project will not give you a mastery in one skill, right? So be very confident what you write in your resume, and make sure that you can answer all the questions that can come up with those skills. So yeah, I think different rounds has different kind of difficulties.
Okay, okay, so everybody has their own perspective, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so since we spoke about resume here, so I have a question again. So how much does having a great profile on LinkedIn itself improve our chances of being called for an interview?
Oh, very much. So, not even like, LinkedIn is basically your new resume, I would say. So most of the recruiters, even now, I am approached by a lot of recruiters from good companies directly through LinkedIn. I do not get much of mails, but I get lot of DMs from the recruiters that, hey, I look at your profile and it is very impressive. So your profile really matters, and not just LinkedIn, but your Twitter profile, your GitHub profile, all these profile. Because as I said, in this online situation, from community building, from interacting with people online, you can get a lot of opportunities, right? Because in offline scenarios only we used to interact with offline, from offline perspective, right? So there were not a lot of online engagement. But now, because of pandemic, whole scenario has changed. So that is why the importance of personal branding and building in public and being active in communities is so important nowadays. So I would say that please make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated, and put right keywords in your profile based on the opportunities that you are looking forward. And please add some interesting sections in your featured there is a features section in LinkedIn profile, so please add all the good projects that you have worked upon in the featured section. And yeah, like there are a lot of things you can you can put in on LinkedIn to make sure that your profile stands out. So I cannot cover all the points here, but I
Yeah.
will make sure that I would suggest you all to look out for various resources that are available online. There are so many resources which tells that what should be there in LinkedIn and what should not be there in your LinkedIn profile. But definitely, recruiters these days now look at your LinkedIn profile to reach out to the right candidates.
Okay, so that's like, yeah, LinkedIn has become pretty convenient in finding out how a person is able to present themselves to the community and to the outside world. So it
Yeah.
improves our chances. That's awesome. Okay, so here is my next question. Since you had also worked as a product intern for Adobe, what's your takeaway about that? Like,
Um.
takeaway about your experience at Adobe and how the journey of being recruited in Adobe was, in
Yeah.
contrast to LinkedIn.
Okay, so the interview process was quite similar. I and At Adobe, the work of product intern is also similar to what a software development intern do. So there is no much difference in the work, but the only difference is like the kind of tech stack that is used in LinkedIn and in Adobe. So I think this is different for every company, right? So this is not particular about Adobe and LinkedIn, but in Adobe, I was in the core tech team. So I worked on the core libraries of Adobe, like the color library, the language library, text library, all these things. And as we know, all the core libraries are mostly built in C++ for most of the companies. And then for development purpose, company mostly use Javas or Java or Python language, something like that. So in Adobe, my work was basically on C++, and at LinkedIn, we use Java. So this is the major difference. Otherwise, in both the companies, the work was mostly related to development only. So there is no much difference in the work. I think Adobe call their software development intern as product intern only. I think that is why the confusion
Oh,
is there, but like it is not related to product management.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe I myself too was confused. Maybe.
yeah.
Okay, so even
Most
that
of the
is a
people
great thing
are
to.
confused. Yeah.
Okay, so even that needs to be considered how every company addresses their positions.
Right. Even at Adobe, we do not have software development profiles. They have member of technical staff (MTS) profiles. So it's like MTS one, MTS two, and then computer scientist. So you are not a software developer. Um, you don't have a software development profile at Adobe.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So again, like every company has a different architecture in their
Yeah.
construction. Okay, that's great thing. So again, I have one more question. Okay, let me just get it up here. So, since you have been through a lot of interviews, what
Yeah.
does the HR round, like I'm speaking about the HR round specifically because
Hmm.
it's dependent on soft skills again. What exactly do we need to present them that impresses the HR?
Okay, so first of all, as I said, before going to the HR round, it is very much important to understand that what is the company looking for. Because HR round is basically if you are fit, culturally fit for the company. So you have to focus on that. What is the company looking for your soft skills? So once you, for example, if the company is looking for a team player, so you can before going to the interview you can prepare like some questions, random questions related to team like sportsmanship and team player skills. You can directly search what are like what can be the questions related to this particular skill, and then you can curate some stories related to it. Because if you have worked on projects, if you have participated in hackathons, then you must have the team player skills already, right? It's just that how you're curating a story um, related to that particular question. So the only thing that you can do is prepare questions and prepare answers before going to the interview, and then there will be some tweaks in the interview itself, and That's how you can go about it. And there is a strategy which I would like to share here, that everyone can benefit it from in behavioral questions basically. So star is an acronym for situation, task, action, and result. So what will happen, you will be given a situation, and
Okay.
then what you can do is you can explain that situation to the interviewer, that okay, you have faced a similar kind of situation in your life also, in some of the development project or maybe some competition. And then you can figure out some tasks that you take out from those situations. For example, the situation I referred before, that one of your teammate is not able to contribute all the tasks that is assigned to him or her at the given time. Then how you tackle that situation? The task can be, I helped that person, or I divided my task into small pieces, and I like distributed all the small tasks in the whole team, so that we all can but take the burden out to that person who is not able to complete the task at the given time. And this is your task. So what you have done, you have understood the situation, you have put out the task that you took out of the situation. Then you will say what kind of action you did. So action can be, then I completed the given task to me on the like within the given deadline. I managed like how you manage basically, what were the actions that you did. And at the last, the results or the outcome. It can be that the problem was solved, the problem was partially solved, or what could have done better, or all these things. So this is the strategy, and it is basically how you can put out your solution in a well structured manner, right? What should be the sequence while answering behavioral questions. So this is one thing that can help, but you have to come up with the questions and solution before appearing for the
Beforehand.
interview. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a task. Okay,
Yeah.
so looks like we're getting a lot of questions in our chat box too. So here we have a question from Anshuman. Folks nowadays prefer LinkedIn for looking into opportunities, as you said.
Hmm.
So, what's your experience through recruiting through LinkedIn, and what's your responses?
So I am not a recruiter, so I have no experience of recruiting through LinkedIn. But yeah, like recruiters directly reach out to me by using emails and DMs through LinkedIn only, and that is because of my profile, because I have used the right keywords that I'm looking for my opportunities. So, for example, I'm looking for software development. If I am looking for software development opportunities, then I will add the exact keywords: software development, and maybe some skills like C++, Java, or Python, all these things. I will not use keywords like SDE. So be very
Mhm.
specific about what you are using in your profile. Use proper keywords, and so that proper keywords is like a basic building block for any searching algorithm, right? So if you want to be at the top search results, in top results of what recruiter is searching for, then you should use the right keywords. And then, as I said, properly structure your LinkedIn profile, add all the relevant experiences, add a feature section, share your resume there, keep your resume name like don't put it like temp.pdf or just some random name. Keep it like resume underscore your name, or maybe your name then underscore your batch, maybe your degree, or all these things, like right. So the name should be fine. And yeah, there are so many things. You should have recommendations. If you have worked on some project, then you can ask for recommendation to the folks you worked with. Then there is assessment section also. Now LinkedIn has assessment section, so you can showcase your marks, what you received in the assessment. So there are a lot of things, and I would say complete your LinkedIn profile. Be very cautious what you are putting there, and try to complete as much as possible. Of course, don't put just random information there, but try to fill it as much as possible. And yeah, LinkedIn is very important these days.
Very
Take
important.
it serious. Yeah, take it seriously.
Okay, so the deal is in the detail. Okay, so we have our next question here from Akshat. So we see a lot of humor of competitive programming in placements. So do they all need? So are they needed in coding rounds or give an extra edge to the participant?
Okay. So competitive. Okay, so let me put it in this way. All the big companies like Google, Microsoft, Atlassian, Adobe, LinkedIn, all the big MNCs ask DSA question. Okay, there is no doubt if they are going to use DSA skills or not in the company does not matter, but they will ask DSA question in the interview. So please make sure that you have good DSA practice before appearing for the interview. And competitive programming is basically the advanced version of DSA. So it's like mixing and matching multiple algorithms together, and to solve a particular problem in the given time frame. That is why the name competitive programming. There is a competitive nature in competitive programming, because you always have a timer going on and on and on, and you have to solve that problem in the given time. So while you practice competitive programming, you are able to think faster. So in that way competitive programming helps a lot. So while you are appearing for DSA round, it is very much important that you are able to understand the question quickly, then you are able to find edge cases very quickly, you are able to come up with the logic very quickly, and all these skills will come only through competitive programming. DSA is like the basic building block, how to use data structures and what are the basic algorithms, but how to mix them and use them in a proper way, in an optimized way, is basically what competitive programming is. So I would say that, not even if you are not mentioning that you are a competitive programmer in your resume, it will somehow um, be reflected how you are solving your problem, and it will definitely give you an extra edge over all the participants. So I would
That's
suggest everyone to at least do some practice of competitive programming. Participate in contests like Google Hash Code, Facebook Hacker Cup, and there are so many competition. Use Code Forces and CodeChef platforms. I'm not saying that totally skip the standard DSA, because like there are some standard questions which are asked in all the companies, but definitely you should practice competitive programming.
okay. So that's great insight on competitive programming being used. So again, I have a rather controversial question here. It's from Aditya, Aditya Sahu. So service based, product based, startup based companies, they have their own way of hiring. And in some places, DSA is given preference. In some places, development is important, development of programs, projects, etc. So this often creates a confusion among the crowd that wants to apply in them. So what's your take on this?
Okay, so okay, let's take two scenarios. One is the startup culture, and second is a developed company like MNCs. Okay, so the difference between the culture is, if you are working in a developed company, the focus is how efficient your code is, like how can you write a feature, how can you develop a feature with the least number of infrastructure, with the least amount of resources. Because if the company is already developed, they have some kind of softwares already built, they just need to improve on it, right? But if you are working on a startup, you may have required to develop the whole product from scratch, and the requirement is to just build the project, like build the product. So at that time it is very much important that you have the mastery in a particular skill. But in case of developed companies, it is very much important that you have the ability to think all the edge cases, to think how you can optimize your solution, and to basically um, think in a way, like what to say, slow the importance of slow thinking is very much there in developed companies, and the importance of developing software on time is there in startup culture. So that is why in startup interviews, mostly the focus is on how well you can develop your software and how fast you can develop it. And in MNCs, the focus is more on how logical you can think. So that is the like
A key difference.
basic, yeah, key difference. So you should definitely first make up your mind whether you want to go in MNC or whether you want to join a startup. And I think these days the pay is almost same for both the environment. So pay is not a differentiating feature. The only difference is the kind of growth you want. And startup has a, like, if you are working in a startup, the kind of technical growth you will have is, I would say, higher than working in MNC. But in working in a MNC will give you a lot of insights, like how big MNCs work, how, like, you have millions of data, right? Million number of data, how you manage that. So that kind of experience you will get in MNC. So like the environment is different, and you have to first decide before starting preparing for the interviews.
Yeah, that is very important because we need to know how the job is aligning with our goals, the goal planning we have for ourselves in the future,
Right.
and what we want to achieve. So, yeah, that's a great insight on the key difference between how these companies function. So, yeah, coming up with our next question. Since recruitment is a process that people usually find to get jobs, so this is a rather, okay, let me just put that out. So, this it's a rather good question, I would say. So, what do you think is a good procedure or a good practice to negotiate compensation for our work?
Okay, I cannot see the question.
No, it's a
Can
made up.
you?
I made the question. It's
Oh,
not.
oh, okay, okay.
Okay, I'll repeat it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what do you think is a good practice to negotiate compensation for our work?
Okay, so you will, like, if it is your first job, I don't think you have any benchmark to compare with. Like, have some experience first. It can be a freelancing work first. Freelancing, you can start doing freelancing projects from your college, or maybe to understand the current market, you can work on some startups or maybe some internship. Only then you are able to, kind of take a decision that what should be the pay the company should give based on your skill. So if it is just your first job, then I don't think negotiating is should be the first priority. It's more of the kind of projects and growth you are going to have in that particular opportunity. But if you are looking for maybe your next job, or maybe after working in a good company you are trying to switch another company or maybe your career, at that time you can ask a 20 or 25% raise, and because you then you have a benchmark, you know that this is my current pay and now I can negotiate above it. So yeah, that's it. But first you should have a benchmark for yourself.
Yeah, that's that's really awesome. Okay, so thank you for answering that. And here's my next question. So, knowing that you have been through so many interviews and you're so experienced with all this, so knowing what you know now, is there anything that you would have done differently when you were first starting?
So I first started giving interviews in the first year of my engineering only. So I worked with many startups with various positions. So there are, of course, a lot of things that I did wrong at that time, because I was, you can say, a noob at that time. But I think
Okay.
it's a all going process, and we learn a lot. One thing that I take very seriously even now, and I mentioned it previously in this video couple of times also, that please try to understand what is a company looking for in the candidate and what you are bringing out at the table. So if you are able to match all the two things together, then you are good to go. The company will be happy to have you, and you will be happy to join there. So you just have to make a match between what is the company's requirement and what you want.
Because that's great. So we need to align our interests in the same way to
Yeah,
have a better edge on it. It's
right.
perfect.
and
So
and
Akshay,
I will say, do not do it, like, do not pressurize yourself while doing it, because sometimes I face that people try to pretend in certain way, so that in the interview they will clear the interview round, and then after joining the company they face that, okay, this is not the company I want to work with. And so there's a huge gap, right? Because after joining the company, if you're realizing this thing, then it's a kind of waste for you also and for the company also. So I would say that find the company which suits your agendas or your goals, and then try to try to reach out to them. That will be super helpful for you also.
yeah, that's That's very great. Thank you for asking that. And now we have a question from Akshay. So people often say that off-campus placements are tough to prepare instead of on-campus placements. So can you suggest some good strategies to crack the hard rounds?
So first of all, there is no roadmap kind of thing for for any interview preparation. We all can just share our personal experience. And so I have also appeared many off-campus placement round, and definitely the core difference is because the number of competitors that you have in on campus is very much less as compared to off campus, and because you already know the kind of people you are competing with in on campus, so you kind of have a sense of what to say, you kind of have a sense that who would be the people you are competing with, right? So you know where you stand, and now you prepare based on that. That okay, maybe I think I am in the 20 top 10 20 top 10 or 20%, then but I need to be in the top 5%, then this should be my plan of practicing or brushing up my skills. But in off campus you do not have such kind of data with you, and you do not have even know the number of like candidates appearing for the placement. So that is the biggest difference between on campus and off campus opportunities. But the only thing that you can do from your side is to practice as much as possible. Like we all have 24 hours, so utilize the time as much as possible, and after that you do not you cannot do much, right? You just have 24 hours, you cannot have more than that. So if you are utilizing it properly and appearing for the interviews, applying at the right time, then that's it. That's all you can do from your side.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so such was our difference between off-campus and on-campus. So yeah,
Yeah.
on-campus we have an idea of what we're competing against. So that's a great advantage if we compare that to off-campus. Great insight.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question from Aditya Sahu, again based on difference. So, what's your thinking on the atmosphere, the working atmosphere of service-based company and product-based company? Because people say service-based company doesn't have growth as comparison to product-based company.
uh, I think it is not right to say that service based companies doesn't have growth. I think the type of growth is different, because in product based companies you know the kind of impact you are going to have in real people, on real people. For example, let's say Linden is a product based company. We have a product, Linden, and every time we are working on a project, we analyze the kind of impact we are going to have on our end user, which is basically people like us who are using LinkedIn. So if you know the kind of impact that you are going to create, the kind of interest you have in the project increases, right? If I know that okay, these million of people are going to be impacted with this one feature that I am creating, so that is a different kind of I would say attraction towards the process that we have in product based companies, which I feel that is not there in service based company. And that is why I'm more inclined to product based companies. But definitely it depends upon your goals, what you are looking for as a for your growth, for your personal growth, and based on that you should choose the kind of company you want to work with.
Okay, that's awesome because yeah, because like in product based companies the result is tangible, but in service based
Right.
it's a bit invisible to us on how we're
Right.
adding
Right.
value. So
Right.
yeah, that's a great answer. And yeah, again a follow-up question from Aditya. Service based focus on non-technical part mostly.
Right. So that is why, right? I think more like we cannot say that all of us are going to work on technical parts only, right? There are so many fields in IT domain, and not all of us want to be a developer. So there are different aspects, and it depends on your personal goals where you want to be. So it's all depend upon that.
Yeah, that's great. And we have one more question from Anshuman. So, okay, this is a bit interesting. So, what are different ways to get an opportunity to work with such an amazing folk as you? Basically, he wants to know how he can get into LinkedIn.
Okay. So I got into LinkedIn in this is a very funny story. So I got to uh, like I got the offer from LinkedIn in two ways. First is on my during my on campus placement. So during my on campus placement, three candidates got selected for SDE role. But then there was a hackathon organized by LinkedIn, which is known as Winterthon, which is a national level hackathon for female candidates. And the winning team get direct opportunity to work as a software development intern. And fortunately our team won that hackathon. So I got two offers for the same profile and for the same company. So to work with Linden, I think Linden has a lot of programs. So they have, as I said, hackathon. Then they come to campus. Also, they have off campus opportunities. Then they have multiple programs related to, for example, if someone has a break in their career, then and if you want to start your career again, then they have a program. If you want to have mentorship, then there is a coaching program. So there are a lot of programs which are running by LinkedIn, and many companies are these days are focusing on such programs like recruiting through hackathons, then doing mentorship programs, and finally you will get an opportunity to work with the company if you did well in the mentorship program. So I think you can what you can do is be very active in the communities and be connected with the right folks who keep on sharing such information, so that you know that such kind of opportunities are live now and you can take advantage of it.
That's very interesting. So again, since you spoke of two different methods of getting in, so I have a follow-up question for this. So since
Yeah.
certain companies offer a few certification courses like
Hmm.
Oracle, we have Microsoft. So do those certificates really add any value, or do they actually help us during any interview round?
Okay, so again, it depends upon the kind of profile. For example, I can talk about cloud profile, cloud engineers. So for them, AWS certification courses or Azure certification courses are really important. But talking about software development, if I am putting some certification, if I took some course from Coursera, or if I'm saying that okay, I got 100%, even 100 percentile in that course, uh, that is not going to help you, because in the end you are the developer and you have to work on unique feature every time. So every time you are going to solve a different problem. So it is basically how confident and how good you are with your skills, and that's the only thing that is going to help you. But in terms of cloud architect, you are going to use some clouds which are already developed, for example AWS, Azure, or GCP, right? So you should know that how to use those infrastructures, and for that you should have the certification with you. So that is why I think it depends upon the kind of profile you are applying for.
Okay, so that's a huge insight on how certifications actually work.
Yeah.
Because what happened is that recently my college launched a certification program. All of us are a bit clueless about it. So
But
yeah,
as
I
a
thought,
student, I think as a student, you can definitely like do those certifications.
okay. So yeah, certifications are a great way of acquiring knowledge.
Right, right.
Again, but then that has to be a bit aim driven.
Right, right. It's not like that you are doing a certification in Python and you are developing projects in Node.js. So this does not make any sense.
Yeah,
And
it
then
needs
you
to
are
go
writing
hand in
both
hand.
as your expertise.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that needs to go a bit hand in hand.
Yeah,
It's going to be chaotic otherwise. Okay, so
right.
yeah. Okay, so we have. Okay, so that marks the end of our interview session. Thank you so much for coming up on stage and giving us a huge insight on how interviews actually happen, how we need to be careful in our interviews, what we need to prepare first, how an interview should go on in every round. So yeah, thank you for your great insight.
Yeah,
And
thank you so much for inviting. Just before wrapping up, I just wanted to share a few tips. I think this will help everyone. So be very normal while you are appearing for the interview. Take it as if you are talking to a friend and you are solving problem together. Don't take it that someone has thrown just question on you and you have to solve it. You can put out your suggestions, you can put out all your doubts that you have in your problem, in the problem statement, and take it very, very normally, as if you are talking to your friends. Clear all the doubts, be very casual while talking, and show the interest that you have in the job. For example, if you are appearing for a software development role, then you can ask the what kind of tech stack that the company use, and why they are using such tech stack. And you can ask the interviewer that what is the kind of team you work with, what are your current projects, or if they are comfortable sharing that, and if they have the permission to share such information, then it will be a very good kind of conversation that you can have with the interviewer, right? So you can do all such things, and all the very best for everyone to for your future opportunities.
Okay, so thank you so much. And again, great help from you again. So yeah, we just need to be ourselves and
Right.
to be optimistic. Optimism helps a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, for everybody who is watching this stream, Rishka here is also a content creator. This here is her YouTube channel. So go check her content out. She'll help you in a great way there. And so thank you so much. And again, for all the people who are watching this, we are going to be having our round one of Bugtrons right after this session at 8 p.m. So make sure you go out and attend it, because it's going to be a
All
great
the very
experience for
best.
you. Yeah, all the very best to all the participants that are here, or I guess a few people are already prepping up for it. So yeah, that's great. And thank you so much for coming up on stage. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Have a nice day.
bye.